When you're born into a prey animal species, it's important to get up and running as soon as possible. But elk calves need a little more time to unwind before they start bounding through the meadows. What can they do to avoid predators before they can keep up with the herd? The answer is hide. But going incognito means being undetectable by sight, sound, and smell. Being imperceptible is a great way to start life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse Raspulich, Carol Raspulich, Richard Caspar, Gray Hughes, and Wednesday Rabbit. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about a certain service, but more on that later. Not service. Serve us. Not serve us.
This is getting weirder and weirder. If you want out of the hole, put down the shovel, you know?
No. We're going to the center of the earth. But yeah, more on that later.
Yeah, we are talking about the Rocky Mountain elk.
Oyster. Oh.
Yeah, no. Are there oysters? Why are they called Rocky Mountain oysters?
Yeah, I don't know. Look it up.
There are no oysters in the mountains.
No, they are. They're just like in specific little packages.
I mean, there are oysters are consumed in the mountains.
Do you know what a Rocky Mountain oyster is?
No. I don't eat snot. So
It's not snot.
it is. All oysters are snot.
Meatballs.
Are they?
Yes.
What? You are pulling my leg here. Now I'm looking this up. Oh my goodness, you're right. Oh my. None of this makes sense.
It's like a euphemism.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, here, try this Rocky Mountain oyster. And then your friend eats it, and they're like, "Oh, how are there oysters in the Rocky Mountains? There's no ocean there." And then you're like, "You're right. There is no ocean there."
Yes, but there are cattle.
There are a few other terms. Montana tendergroins.
That is better. That's more descriptive.
Swinging beef.
Also more descriptive, but with less class.
Dusted nuts.
Even less, the least amount of class.
Cowboy caviar is another one, but I've heard that as like a different recipe that's just like corn. It's like a dip.
Wow. Okay. I've learned something new today. I'm not a foodie. Never have been. Never will be. So I'm not embarrassed at the fact that I didn't know what a Rocky Mountain oyster was. In fact, it sounded like a brand of oysters.
Did we talk about what we're talking about?
Yes, Rocky Mountain elk.
That's right.
I don't like your elk. It's also known as the wapiti.
Mm-hmm.
It's known as the red deer and the American elk. We're going to call it here the stealth stench, the mini moose, and antler. I hardly know her. That's dumb.
Interesting.
Let's taxonomize this. The kingdom is one you know, love, and are in. That's Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. Class Mammalia. Order Artiodactyla. Even-toed ungulates, like humpback whales and hippos. The suborder is Ruminantia or Ruminantia, if you want to throw a ch in there, like a good American. Which is so it's a ruminant, which describes its digestive system. The family is Cervidae, so it's in the deer family. The genus is cervus. The species is Canadensis, and the subspecies for this one is Nelsoni. There is another subspecies called Roosevelti. I bet you can guess who is a fan of that one, or was a fan
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
The Delano guy, yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt?
Franklin Eleanor Roosevelt. Yeah, so Cervus Canadensis Nelsoni. We're going to do Cervus Canadensis. For my favorite part of the show, nitty-gritty nomenclature. Part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is, what is the English translation for the binomial nomenclature, which I just mentioned is Cervus Canadensis? So is it A, bold forest deer, B, Canadian stag, C, northern woods royalty, or D, echoing antler beast?
What was the Canadian one?
Canadian stag.
Canadian stag, final answer.
That is correct. What tipped you off?
Well, I wonder what Canada means. Is it named after a person? How did Canada get its name?
That is a good question. I was hoping to throw you off with some, like, maybe Canada meant forest or something like that, but...
Nope.
Yep, Canadian stag, or just Canadian male deer.
Oh, well, it does have it means village or settlement. It's from the Huron Iroquois word Kanata.
Kanata?
Village or settlement.
Interesting. So village stag. Should have said that. Which just sounds like a really boring bachelor party. All right. Let's describe the Rocky Mountain elk. It is
that would be a poor translation, by the way.
Village stag.
Yeah, because clearly the spirit of the text, if we're going a thought for thought translation, it is a Canadian. It's a stag from Canada. It is not a stag from a village. That is not what is being intended by the words.
Yeah, the intent, not the letter of the law, right?
Yeah, you'd be fired as a scribe.
If you'd be fired as a Roman scribe if someone said Cervus Canadensis and you said deer of the village.
Yeah.
You'd have to fall upon your own sword in order to avoid the shame.
And you'd be lucky because the pen is mightier than the sword.
You'd have to fall upon your own pen. That'd be even worse.
My jacket is ruined.
Or you'd have to fall upon your own pen like 60 or 70 times. All right. Let's talk about what this looks like. It is a large boy. It's a big boy. Elk is one of the biggest mammals in North America. It has a large, sturdy body covered in reddish-brown fur. It is almost black, kind of near the neck. The fur is very thick and coarse, but it has lighter tones in the underbelly and legs, and its tush, or rump. It has these large, majestic antlers. Well, males do at least. Kind of gives it a crown appearance. Females do not sport these antlers. And it has this long, not not quite a moose face with that big bulbous snout, but it's much more like deer oriented. Kind of like if a horse and a deer had some sort of like distinguished baby with a little bit of sophistication and class, but also ruggedness. And it is, so like I said, big, it's tall, it has long legs. It is the largest of the deer species. Or not deer species. One of the largest within the deer family. And you don't want to mess with it. The antlers are made of bone and come off every year. So I said it was big. How big is it, Joe?
Well, welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week, but that means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is. I was going to play the meese from Brother Bear, but they're not elks. They're Canadian.
If you were going to continue the
comedians,
if you were going to continue the trend of children's programming, if you're going to continue with the trend of children's programming, I would go with I would assume you were going to go with Moose from If You Give a Mouse a Cookie.
I literally have no concept of you. I know the general like theme of Give a Mouse a Cookie, but I don't know any of the characters.
Well, one of the characters is Moose, because part of that book series is If You Give a Moose a Muffin. It's kind of, it's that whole like, I guess the theme of those stories is if you do something nice for someone, don't, because they're gonna keep asking until you have nothing left. Because like the whole thing is like if you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna ask for a glass of milk, and then he's gonna ask for this, and he's gonna need this to go with it, and then all this stuff.
This is for the children. This is for the children that are gonna go up against the children that are taught the parable of the persistent widow, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know, like we got to prepare these other children that are one day going to be going up against these persistent widows that were taught never to give up and asking for something you need.
Never give up and asking for something you need, and then everyone else is taught don't give anyone anything.
Yeah.
But then
what
you have the
terrible book.
Yeah, it is a terrible book. I mean, it's like whimsical, and like by the end, you're just like, oh, you had a good time with a mouse. But it's like for the kid who's giving the mouse all of this stuff, or for giving the moose a muffin, and then the moose wants like some jam on the muffin, and then he needs a sweater, and all. It's like it's just it's really teaching you to be stingy with your stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you're sure that they can pay you back with interest. And moose are famous for not being able to do exactly that. That's
true. They are. They can only repay straight up no interest loans.
That's right.
But instead of that, I'm going to actually just play an elk because they have a striking and famous sound that I think the listener needs to hear.
Okay.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. That is a male elk making a bugle sound, which is the sound they make when they're in the mating season.
Yeah, did you think that maybe they could have recorded that not directly underneath a waterfall?
First half was right directly underneath the waterfall. Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Let's hear a clearer one.
That, that is shrill.
It is shrill. Yeah. But
It's
yeah,
like
that's what they sound like.
It's like a humpback whale song, but on land.
That's exactly what that. Now we understand
Why they're
whales
even-toed
are an
ungulates. Yes.
artiodactyl.
Yes. It's because shrill, piercing songs.
But yeah, let's talk about their height.
Then shouldn't Celine Dion also be an artiodactyla?
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, she doesn't have even-toed. She's odd-toed. Wait, is artiodactyl
She
odd?
has even toes between the 2 feet? I don't know
how it works.
I don't know how you count that.
Let's talk about their height. They're up to 1.3 meters or 4.3 feet at the withers. So how many is that? Is that A, 51 Hot Wheels cars, B, 34,897, or do 3,000 that many 3,000 and change go into the Grand Canyon, the depth of the Grand Canyon, or C, is it 39 Polly Pockets?
How many Hot Wheels cars?
51 Polly Pocket Pollies, not like I know Polly Pocket's an entire set. Polly Pocket, Polly herself, which I tried to ask AI about earlier, and AI refused on the basis that it could not talk about elections. So if you didn't know, Polly Pocket was on the ballot this year.
AI can't talk. First of all, I didn't know AI couldn't talk about elections. And second of all, I didn't realize Polly Pocket had taken a stance. It's just like Taylor Swift takes a stance, and then Polly's right on her heels.
Yeah, she's got to stay relevant.
I have no conception of the size of a Polly Pocket, but I do of a Hot Wheels car. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Final answer.
Yes.
The correct answer is A, 51 Hot Wheels cars.
Yes. I don't think I've been right in like 2 months.
Hot Wheels cars are 1/64th scale. So 64 times smaller than its real life car counterpart.
Nice. I have those are scattered all over my house. So I am
good. They're the perfect toy.
That's incorrect. They are heavy. They fit very easily in the palm of your hand, and they are just the perfect projectiles, and also difficult to see at night. Easy to step on, and they are full of jagged stuff on the top of them. So no, they are not the perfect toy. The perfect toy is a teddy bear. End of story.
What about snowballs?
Those
Yeah, you have those, right?
Yes, and we played with them for 2 weeks, and then we put them up because it was annoying. Toys need to serve my sanity as well as their entertainment.
If you wanted to know their length, they're between 2 and 2.5 meters, or 6.6 to 8.2 feet. 8 foot, large animal. But let's get into weight. Males can weigh up to 300 kilograms or 660 pounds, with an average around 606 pounds. But females are smaller. So, is that A, the equivalent of 60 gallons of water? B, 43 cinder blocks? Or C, 1 medium grand piano?
These all sound very close. If a gallon of water is 10 pounds, that's... I'm going with the gallon of water. The water. Final answer, yes.
The correct answer is C, 1 medium grand piano. Yes, the gallons of water was like 60 pounds off.
It's so close. So a gallon of water is like 11 pounds or whatever, 10.5 pounds.
No, I think it's like 12 gallons of water is equal to 100 pounds.
Oh, it's less than 10. That is, yeah, and it couldn't have been the cinder blocks. Cinder blocks are just devastatingly heavy. I had like 20 of them at this house when I bought it, and I've been putting one at the curb on trash day every week, and about like once every other trash day they will take the cinder blocks. So I'm at my last two, but each week I'm carrying this cinder block out. They probably weigh like 40
50?
pounds each. Yeah,
40 or 50. Well, that's all I got. Do you have any fast facts before we get into the major fact?
I do. So the Rocky Mountain elk is, believe it or not, found in the Rocky Mountains, mostly in the western United States in the mountainous regions. It loves coniferous forests, meadows, valleys. It is a strict herbivore and is not even preachy about it. It likes grasses, shrubs, the occasional pine cone, which is usually by accident as it's eating a bunch of other stuff. They are herd animals, so they are very gregarious. They congregate in large groups. Bulls form harems, meaning male elks will form groups of females during the rut, so that is the mating season. So it's just living La Vida Bachelor Loca for that guy. We just talked about how crazy of a sound they make. It's like, it's space whales. That's exactly what it is. That can carry for miles, similar to a lion's roar. Miles Davis. Is that Bible Man?
No, it's a jazz man.
Miles something is the name of the guy who plays the alter ego for Bible Man, and I thought it was Miles Davis, and I was like, that is about as deep of a cut as
Miles Peterson.
Miles Peterson. Yeah, that's, of all the superheroes named Miles, that's my favorite one. Close second, Miles Morales. But Miles Peterson, whew.
No, wait. Who's Miles Peterson? Because they're saying Josh Carpenter is his alter ego.
No, Miles. His name is definitely Miles. Miles Peterson. Yes, that is his alter ego. When he is not fighting the shadow of doubt with a lightsaber. Okay. Elk are so large that adult elk really don't have too much to worry about when it comes to predators. Wolves, bears, and mountain lions, in a desperate scenario, might try their luck. But for the most part, if an elk has to worry about a predator, is because the elk is a baby. They can live for up to 20 years. A better average is more like 10 to 15 years in the wild. And I will leave it at that. Do you have a major fact?
I sure do. So baby elk calves are born without a scent. And I don't mean they're poor. They have no smell. They're smellless. And this lack of smell helps protect them from predators. And it makes them difficult to detect the like you said, like if you're going to eat an elk, it's going to be a small elk. Although wolves can take down single elk when they're adults, even bull elks, just through exhaustion.
It's that Ice Age, the end of Ice Age situation with the saber-toothed tigers and the mammoth.
So during the first week of their lives, calves remain still and quiet and hide in bushes or tall grass to avoid being noticed. Their scent glands are undeveloped for a short period of time just after they're born, so that their smell. It's not that they like. If you go up to a baby elk, it's not like you're gonna just inhale to your heart's content and smell nothing. But their smell is just background smell. Like it's the same as the world around them.
You smell like grass and dirt.
Yeah. Grass and dirt. But as they grow and need to move around a little bit more, they develop a scent and become more detectable to predators. So their parents, when they're first born, they cannot keep up with their mom. They can stand, but they can't keep up with the herd or their parents. So they stash them in a thicket when they go and look for food, because the female needs to go and eat in order to make milk for the calf. So they'll stash them away in the bushes while they go. But once they're strong enough to keep up with the herd, their scent glands start to develop. Coyotes and other predators will still look for calves to find. If they find one in a bush, then hooray! But they just won't find it by scent. But during their first few weeks, they remain stashed away and extremely quiet. They're very quiet infants, which helps them avoid detection.
All I'm hearing is good things. This is a situation where newborns are quiet and they don't smell. That is, wow.
Their fur also has a molted pattern that blends in with the natural surrounding. If you see, if you picture a baby deer with the speckles, that's what they've got that.
And they've got natural camo. These are things that human babies are lacking in spades. Yeah. Can you lack something in spades?
Yeah, it's just shovel full of nothing. So they, in this vulnerable period where their only defense is hiding, it doesn't last very long because they grow extremely quickly. So the period of time between them being scentless but also small and unable to keep up with the herd is a week or two, because they drink a gallon of milk every day, and every day they grow about 3 pounds. So by
Sheesh.
Yeah,
that's got to be painful. Talk about growing pains.
They're growing by multiple human babies every week.
Yeah, that is. If you drink a gallon of milk, you got to put it somewhere, right?
Yeah, the milk challenge. They pass it with flying colors as infants every day.
No barfing.
Nope. And that's pretty much it. Their strategy is don't say anything, don't smell like anything, and drink the milk quickly so you can walk around with us.
Don't smell like anything and become large.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Elk's Guide to the Galaxy.
Elk are also one of the most dangerous animals in the Grand Canyon National Park, because
they're not supposed to be there, right?
Well, for the same reason, like if you go to Yellowstone, the bison are. It's because people don't think of them as dangerous. But they're large and skittish prey animals, and they'll defend themselves.
I can't imagine looking at a bison and coming to the conclusion that it's not dangerous.
Because someone tells you it doesn't eat people or doesn't eat meat, and you're like, oh, it just eats grass. So
have you seen a rhino or an elephant?
I know that. I agree with you.
They're like,
but I've also seen tons of video of tourists walking up to bison, sometimes getting flipped.
There's nothing about the design of these animals we just mentioned that screams, I'm friendly. Maybe a bison's little fro. That says that there's a little bit of friendliness.
Maybe they
communicated
saw
by the fro.
The country bear jamboree, and just that big friendly voice seemed inviting. But yeah, they look like the embodiment of some. If something was to be called a beast, that's what it would look like.
A bison? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Beast from Beauty and the Beast kind of looks like a bison.
He's like a lion, wolf, bison, yeah, pig thing. Yeah, he's a chimera. But yeah, don't mess with really big animals. And like moose are super dangerous too. Mm-hmm. In fact, my uncle just went to Alaska over the summer, over last summer, and they were hiking, and a moose walked right by them, and they were like, "Just don't move, don't move, don't move." It's like it's really scary to have this 1,000-pound, 6-foot animal come walking by with just like huge bone scoops on its head with spikes coming out of it.
You don't think of them being like taller at the withers than a full-grown man.
Yeah, like a big horse.
Yeah. Imagine like if you were standing next to a horse and you couldn't see over it.
Yeah, like a Clydesdale. Some of those horses are just monsters.
No, I think they're bigger than a Clydesdale.
I wonder.
They're the largest animal in North America. Oh yeah, I guess like a Clydesdale is about that height.
7 feet 2.5 inches is the tallest horse in the world.
Okay, this is a woman.
Samson, also known as Mammoth, measured 7 feet 2.5 inches at the withers, and he weighed 3,300 pounds. Oh boy. They still measure things by hands for horses, which is just silly. Oh, it's this many hands, and it's about 13 stone. No, it's not.
It is stone. It's a grain as well.
That's dumb too. Stop it. We have.
It's millimeters. It's inches.
Pick one of the two. Pick imperial or metric. Anyway.
Alrighty.
All right. That's the Rocky Mountain elk. So, if you're out there in Podcastia, whistle while you work, butt heads with the competition, and make sure your babies don't stink, like the elk here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Words to the wise.
Words to live by.